Amsterdam has been a popular tourism destination for decades, but the number of tourists flocking to this small city in the Netherlands in the last 10 years has been causing a number of issues. Even though it started as a fishing village, it gradually has grown to be one of the most popular destinations in Europe. Thanks to many different campaigns, such as I Amsterdam, the city became a mass tourist area, popular between 2012 to 2015. The number of visitors almost doubled, from 10 million to 17 million, during the period of only 3 years. Amsterdam is internationally known for its controversial drug and sex tourism. Amsterdam's local population have developed a negative attitude towards the visitors due to the increased amount of tourism. This phenomenon goes by the name of antagonism. One of the few issues that mass tourism brought to Amsterdam is that the carrying capacity of the city has been reached and it is causing different problems within the city and the locals. In the period of 3 years, 3,000 hotel rooms were built and more than 10,000 accommodations open on Airbnb. This has caused the fleeing of locals, also known as displacement. Due to the lack of space available in Amsterdam, they are forced to move out of the city. Another arising issue is connected to the host-guest relationship, which has been deteriorating throughout the years. The locals have reached the fourth stage of negative sentiment towards tourists, known as antagonism. The daily life of the inhabitants has been disrupted in many different aspects by tourists. For example, Amsterdam's population needs to endure massive bike tours on their way to work, which causes traffic and accidents on the street. Noise is also one of the issues locals have to face, as many of the visitors get out of control due to the substances they ingest. To know how the stakeholders involved in those matters feel about the situation, we have conducted interviews to understand their point of view. First perspective we're focusing on is the one of the locals. Today, we're meeting with Koen in the center of Amsterdam, where he has been living for over 20 years to discuss the issues brought on by surpassing the maximum carrying capacity of the city.
And do you think everyone has such an open-mindedness towards tourism, or do you think some locals have disgust with them?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely people hate tourists. Like there's people that really hate tourists, like mostly old people.
So mostly the old people.
Yeah, they blame, and especially tourists in traffic. Like when they rent bikes and stuff.
Amsterdam has been suffering from a housing problem. I mean, you probably know that because you still live with your parents, if I'm not mistaken. Is that a common thing for young people to still live with their parents or having trouble moving out? Because you can see that some neighborhoods are completely dedicated to tourism.
Definitely a problem with moving out. I mean, all of my friends have been searching for the past year to find a house in Amsterdam, and I guess like out of 30, only 5 of them found a house, so yeah, there's a big problem. But like finding a reasonably priced house in a fine area, you can move out of Amsterdam, and then the price will be fine. Like red light district is the most problematic area because there's no, like, you can't live there. There's no way to live anywhere.
Next, we look at the tourism industry in Amsterdam, and more specifically, the hotel one. Students, and mostly exchange students, find it difficult to acquire an accommodation, which leads to them having to stay for a long period of time in different hostels. This also represents a problem for the stakeholders involved in the hotel industry, as the rooms get occupied and booked for a long period of time. Therefore, the hostels came up with a solution, which our interviewee will explain a bit more. What about, do you think that Amsterdam is like overcrowded?
You think there's too much
people?
Too much people. Too much people.
Yeah. Heard stories of, for example, people who have nowhere to sleep, can't rent an apartment. They sleep in a hostel, for example, for like 1, 2 months, 3 months.
I know a lot. Still I have people, but because of that problem, when people here sleeping 1 month, that's why now we decided all the hostels 15 days maximum.
15 days maximum.
Apart from the displacement, the issue of antagonism is also strongly present in the environment of Amsterdam. A campaign from the government has implemented different posters around the crowded parts in the city where there is too much noise. With these, the government tries to help the locals and preserve the good relationship between Amsterdam's inhabitants and tourists. The next interview that we're going to present you shows the perspective of tourists and their feelings towards the antagonism.
Negative impacts on like locals being negative towards the tourists. Have you felt this kind of hate towards you? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But I feel like that's also like our institution. We have like a lot of like Dutch people who are our advisors, and they kind of like talk about tourists a lot.
Also, like, we've been here long enough that, like, we can pick out tourists. Yeah, like, you're standing in the bike lane, and, like, we kind of, like, see what they, like, what the locals feel, too. Like, you know, they're, like, standing in the, I'm biking, and they're in, like, the middle of the bike lane, or, like, they don't know where they're going. Like, I get it, but it's just, like, tourism. Like, that's how it is.
With all the different statements that we collected, we can come to several conclusions. The main issues are that the maximum carrying capacity has been reached in Amsterdam, leading to the displacement of locals, thus generating antagonism and disturbance between host-guest relations. We came up with several solutions that might help the situation in Amsterdam. First, the government should implement more restrictions when it comes to building a new hostel or a hotel, like forbidding companies to invest in buildings in the city center. Regarding Airbnb, we're on the opinion that there are plenty of other accommodations available, therefore they should be completely banned, at least until the situation gets better. Another focus should be giving priority to locals when it comes to housing problems. Continuing the campaign of the signs and posters that make tourists aware of the consequences that their disrespectful behavior can lead to is also vital for maintaining the peace between locals and tourists. By implementing all of these measurements, the City of Amsterdam is aiming to minimize the negative effects caused by these issues. The end.